3, 2, fuck you. I knew when I was doing that to be funny, because Luds did it first, that I was going to pay for that. But who cares? The Stars won again. 8 in a row. And that ties the franchise record. Let's break it down here with the postgame show on DLS right now.
Tune in for the postgame show on DLLS tonight.
Hey everybody, this is the DLLS Stars postgame show. I'm Owen Newkirk alongside our producer Ryan Vaughters, and joining us from Denver because he's still trying to win the U18 National Championship. Nope. Oh, that's too bad. Craig Ludwig.
That went out the window this afternoon. I already changed my flight.
Does that mean you're getting the early one back to Dallas?
Yeah, but Troy, one of the other coaches, took the 5 a.m. I kind of left that one for him. So
that's a good one. Nobody needs to go to the airport at 3 a.m.
No, and the thing is, he's got an Uber set for 2:30, and I'm like, dude, it's 30 minutes to the airport. What are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, especially in Denver. Airport is not close to downtown.
It's awful.
Yeah, it is. All right, before we get into the post-game show tonight, let's talk about that combine sale. What are you talking about? Well, if you haven't heard yet, we have a Die Hard membership sale, 55% off the normal price, $36 for a year. If you have not been a Die Hard before, it's great, not only savings, but also you get all the access. It's a great time because now you would get the entire 2027 football season, right? No, 2026. I'm getting ahead of myself. And, of course, the rest of this year and into next year for hockey, a free t-shirt, access to the Die Hard Discord Lounge, discounts on events and merch, all the things. So sign up today. The QR code's right by Luds, and you can be a Die Hard, at a much discounted rate. Well, Luds, they tied a franchise record. 8 wins in a row for the second time in the last 3 seasons. 2023-24 under Pete DeBoer, they did it, which was shocking. To this day, I'm stunned that with all the good Dallas Stars teams, they've never gotten a double-digit winning streak, but they have a chance to break it. We'll talk about that on Monday, but they find a way to rally from a 2-0 deficit and win this one. I know the Nashville Predators are not one of the Stanley Cup contenders, but they are playing much better, as we talked about in the pregame show, much better hockey than the start, which was just about too much for them to overcome. They're still in it, though. But the way that the Stars found a way tonight was a very encouraging thing for me.
Yeah, Nashville kind of started the season the way Dallas kind of started the game tonight, but Dallas was better than Nashville's start. I thought it was a slow start. It was a bit sluggish, and again, credit to these guys for hanging in there and finding a way. And I, as the game was going along, I kept going, in the pregame show, we're talking about, a couple of bullets that are missing and the power play, and you saw that kind of stuff. But I just want to bring up, I got to do it again. Wyatt, is it, and when I hear, and again, watching the game and listening to it on TV or on a computer, whatever I'm doing at the time, I'm telling you, you talked about some of the good teams that we had. And you know who I thought of tonight? Every time that Wyatt Johnston picks up the puck and the crowd starts to roar.
Oh.
There was a 9 back in the day that every time that jersey was flapping in the back, the crowd, they all expected something to happen. It just seems like when 53 gets across, not net center line, but he gets close to that offensive blue line, you just expect good things to happen. And he he's not 6'4" and 210 pounds, so he's a slight superstar, but he's so elusive and he can spin and it's like he's wearing baby oil. Guys just kind of slide off of him, which is great. He doesn't get hit, but I just and the way he's playing is incredible. And again, I keep going back to when a couple guys are out of the lineup. Wyatt, I'm just saying, when they come back, don't change anything.
Yeah,
you can be selfish at times. You can carry the load too.
The amazing thing, and you said it already, he's not 6'3", 6'4". What Modano's 6'3", right?
Yeah, 6'2",
somewhere in that.
Yeah.
He's a tall, athletic. I don't want to have to talk about it. He's a nice looking guy. He's got it all, right? Wyatt is not that, but you're right. When he gets the puck, because of the way he plays, there is that electricity. It kind of runs through the building, and especially with Mikko out and Rope Hintz, he stands out. And it's funny you say that, because when they were in the lineup, there are times earlier this year where Wyatt doesn't really stand out, but then finds a way to score. That reminds me of his mentor, Joe Pavelski. Doesn't always stand out, but then pops up in the right place, makes a great play, and all of a sudden he made a huge impact, even if you didn't notice him, because, Joe wasn't flying up and down the wing all the time, but he does have, Wyatt sort of has the combination of like the Pavelski positioning, smarts, hockey sense, the way to go around the net, with some of that Modano flair and skill kind of mixed in.
The other guy that I would throw into the mix a little bit, and I don't even know why this is reminding of him, but Jamie Langenbrunner. Jamie can kind of snake his way in there, and like that's what I see of Wyatt. He just kind of squirms to his left and to his right, and I try to picture myself playing against him, and I mean, I know what I would do. I would just stay in the middle of the ice, and I'm only giving him the middle, and I'm going to make him skate behind the net, which doesn't help anything, but he's not going to, I'm not going to lose him. That there was one time I felt later I think it was in the third, Haig played him pretty good in the corner. But even when Wyatt gets cornered, he finds a way to tight turn and get out of there. And it's amazing with being able to keep the puck on his stick while doing all of that. So he's just, every time he seems to touch the puck, good things are happening right now.
What'd you say? Oh, he's got the graphics ready. Look at this. Yes, indeed. Not only did the Stars tie the franchise record for an 8-game winning streak, Wyatt Luds is making you sound like once again, the prognosticator of prognosticators, as he now is just 2 away from tying the franchise record for most power play goals in a single season. You said middle of March. He might do it by the middle of next week.
Well, I did say that I was trying to stretch it after we found out Mikko was going to be out a little bit. I think I was trying to push for the 3rd week of March. But yeah, there's no question that. How many games are in the next 2 weeks? Well, there's got to be at least 6 or 7. We know that. Just the way the schedule.
They have 4 next week alone. Count it starting Monday.
He's going to have 8 to 9 games in, maybe by the end of the 14th or 15th or so in there.
So we just finished up February. They have 4 games next week, 3 games the following. So by the 15th, he'll have played 7 hockey games.
Yeah. So I would think he'd find a way to scrap in, and again, and who knows, maybe Rantanen's back by then, because if he's doing it without Hintz and Rantanen out there, although Jamie gave him a really nice pass.
Boy, did he.
Yeah, nice pass by Jamie. So Jamie had to get one back. He owed the team one on the Stammer goal.
Luds, we're going to break it down in our next segment, and then Sam will join us in the 3rd. Of course, we'll have super chats and that stuff. But I got to ask you about Thomas Harley, because he does seem he did not end up with a huge stat line. He did. He only had 1 assist, which you say only 1. He got a point. That's good.
It led to a goal. Yeah.
It led to a goal. But then look at the shot attempts. He had 2 shots, 6 blocked, 4 misses. That's 12 shot attempts. Mm-hmm. This is the Thomas Harley, the involved on the puck, dictating the play that we expected to see at the start of the year, but at least we're seeing it after the Olympics.
And in his defense, when you talk about, how many did you say, 6 blocks?
He had 6 shot attempts blocked.
Yeah, and so Thomas is so good at finding a little seam and a little lane. I mean, even on the Bastian goal, like he always uses it. When's the last time you saw him take a slapper? You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah.
It's always that snapshot. He's always got his head up. And again, you can't do anything about the second and third guy behind the first guy that he's trying to get the puck past. And you can't concern yourself about that. You've got to find a way. You just find a little lane to get it past the first guy that's standing in front of you. And so many times, but again, even by the shot attempts, just tells you how many and how much time the puck is on his stick. So I think he's getting back to what we thought, what we've seen, I should say, especially last season, even before kind of stuff. I just think the Olympics probably brought that out of him. And, I think he's very comfortable now with the puck and skating through the neutral zone, where he seemed a little tight before, and it seemed like he was unsure of his own skill and his talent, maybe because things went bad early and then they just kind of snowballed a little bit. But I think that obviously the Olympics did some good things for him, besides, the U.S. kind of ruined it a little bit, but otherwise. But the most important thing is he seems to be getting back to the Thomas Harley that we know can create some offense also.
We have talked about this before, but I think it bears repeating in Harley's context because he's of that caliber, right? Gully said that even the most skilled players in the world, and he was not so subtly alluding to players like Draisaitl and McDavid, I think he was specifically talking about McDavid, deal with issues of confidence at times during their seasons and career. And I think you responded with probably more so the best guys because they have such high expectations. And as much as Thomas Harley is a cool customer and seems extremely confident in his abilities, it really does feel like when you go back and look at those first few months of the year, yeah, he had a couple big goals. I know he had that overtime goal that was a big deal. He signed the contract, but he was hurt. He didn't play particularly well. And I have a feeling he was having some crisis of confidence.
I think, and Matt Duchene had a total different thing. Again, he had, I don't know if we can say it legally now.
Yes, you can.
Regardless of it. Okay. So, but Matt was having issues even when he was feeling well because points. These guys, certain guys are about points, and that's what drives them, and that's what's always driven them. That's because that's what they do. Thomas Harley isn't going out there and carrying a banner around saying that he wants to be the best defensive defenseman in the league, but he definitely wants to eventually get up there in points because I just think that's his way of getting him going every night and creating offense. I don't think it always has to be a point, but I think he wants to be an offense creator for his team.
You talked about U.S. beating Harley in Canada and spoiling the end of his Olympics. It could have very easily been Finland spoiling the Olympics for Canada in the semifinal. They were probably sitting back too much, but I think it was really, really, really important for Harley to go through that again, because now we've seen it 2 consecutive seasons in that time frame. Harley has gone on the international stage. Once was a surprise, one as a late injury addition. The second one was expected, but I think we both would be lying if we said we thought he was going to have a great Olympics. I think we were all hopeful, but kind of wondering if, I don't know, maybe he's going to be a healthy scratch. And then, of course, he, started to look great immediately, and that didn't take long for him to go from maybe a scratch to third pairing to, you're playing second pairing, you're playing 20 minutes a night.
Well, I think we even had a conversation thinking he may be the number 8 defenseman of the 8. And when would he get into the lineup? And did he miss the first game of the tournament? Did he not miss one game in there?
I think he played the whole thing.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he made it in the first one or not. And I think I expected him maybe that he would be that one because they talked about Drew Doughty, everybody getting in there and stuff like that. But I think as soon as he got in there, he basically what he did is he made it to the point where they can't take him out. And then he just proved him right all the way through the tournament.
All right, let's talk about this game. Let's break it all down. We don't have the Luds what the puck tonight because he's on the road, but we can still talk about it, and we'll do that next. Stars win here on DLLS. Shoot your shot on Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right. PrizePicks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. It's pretty simple, right? Well, they make every slap shot, wrist shot, backhand, forehand, every hit in the corner boards that much more exciting. Or if you're talking about basketball, every dunk, dime, board, steal. So don't miss your chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. You can find your community on PrizePicks, which is kind of fun, right? Because with the new social feeds feature, you can actually share PrizePicks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. You can copy lineups you like and use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow PrizePicks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. Join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 sports picks app. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Let's talk about Shopify for a minute. Maybe channel the fresh start energy of the new year. Finally launch that business that you've been thinking about with Shopify. 2026 is the year you rewrite your story, your own story, own your own future, and make your entrepreneurial dreams come true. Start your business with Shopify in 2026 and become who you're meant to be. Shopify gives you everything you need to sell online and in person. Millions of entrepreneurs have already made this leap, from household names to first-time business owners just getting started. Setup is fast with Shopify's built-in AI tools that write product descriptions and headlines and help you edit product photos. As you grow, Shopify grows with you. Handle more orders, expand new markets, and of course, do it all from the same dashboard. In 2026, stop waiting, start selling with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. Go to shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity. Hear your first this new year with Shopify by your side.
Shoot your shot.
Ryan went a little early on the cash register sound on that one, but that's okay. Before we get into I want to tell you about a shoot your shot moment tonight, Luds, before we get into the recap.
Does that mean you shat?
Somewhat. I got hit in the line of fire. I like to think I was an innocent bystander, but maybe not. This has never happened to me before. I got hit by bird poop on the scooter ride back to the studio tonight. I'm driving from the AAC on my scooter, whipping down Houston Street, and I'm almost to where the House of Blues parking lot is, and I feel this little light thump, almost like I got hit by a raindrop on my right forearm. And I was driving, so I couldn't just look down. I slow down, the light turns red, and I look down, and there's this little, not even the size of a dime, little bird pellet right on my forearm on my suit jacket, and that was just... in motion, I got drilled. That was apparently it was good luck. The Stars came back and won the game in overtime.
So on your scooter, you got shat on by a sparrow.
Could be.
Nobody's more deserving than you.
I appreciate that. Well, I don't know. It could have been Sam sitting up in the tree. I really didn't get a good look.
Hey, it's pretty obvious Sam's got to be afraid of heights too.
That's true. He's more apt to dig a little hole in the ground than he is to climb up a tree. That's a very good point. All right. I was going to ask you, but we only have so much time. If you, you between your motorcycle and your snowmobile, there must have been something you've been struck with over the years, going at a high rate of speed.
Yeah, tree.
That's a story for another day, I think. But let's break this one down.
The tree has jumped out in front of me a couple times.
The tree that you lost to?
And a car.
That was the one in Frisco, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that's a story for the summer because that's an entertaining one. I've heard that one. All right, lads, you were right. The first period tonight was dull for the most part until it wasn't, because Dallas had two really good grade A chances early. Wyatt Johnston had a point-blank chance early on the power play where apparently the guy with most power play goals in Dallas Stars team history and the most in the league this year, they're just going to leave him open right at the doorstep. He just turns and tries to beat Saros right at the crease. And then how about Adam Ernie coming in on the right wing on a 2-on-1? Really good save by Saros. Those were the first two scoring chances, both grade A's. And then Dallas didn't have any for a little while until Maverick Bourque made a great sequence. It was the robo hold-up play at center ice, spins and passes it to space to Bourque, and then Bourque feathered a beautiful sauce pass. Speaking of bird poop, a nice little feathered pass, and Wyatt goes in on the backhand, and Saros made an incredible save. I think Wyatt wanted to elevate that a little more, but that was I was actually a little surprised the Stars didn't have a lead at that point, the way they created those chances.
I think it's fair to say that Saros was probably the best Nashville Predator tonight.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, he made some quality saves throughout the game, especially as it moved along.
In between that, at that point, the Preds had not created a really dangerous scoring chance yet. They had a couple of simple ones, but Ritzkovian and Leroux dropped the gloves. Now Ritzy Ritz has fought in back-to-back games, and Luds, he's not. I watched a fight this afternoon between Nick Delorier and Tanner Jeannot. That was a heavyweight tilt between Boston and Philadelphia. But there's something about Ritzkovian that seems to be starting to really connect with the fans, because when that fight ended, he was skating away, kind of lifted his arms a little bit. Place went bonkers. They love him.
I'm thinking I'm going to have to change Ritzy Ritz to maybe like a honey badger. You know, he's just. I mean, you can tell that he knows he's not going to be the heaviest guy in the fight, and he's not worrying about who it is. So he gets to jump on everybody quick. You know, he wants to get the first ones in quick and, throw them. And if they hit, they hit. If not, hopefully it's all over with there. But again, you love his tenacity. And as we've talked about, he understands how to stay in the lineup.
Well, it didn't give them the early chance. Yossi had a really good one-timer. Jake made a good save there. But a power play goal would lead things off, as it looked like the Stars were going to kill this power play off. And then right at the end, with I think it was about 7 seconds left, Michael Bunting, whose name has been popping up a bit about trade targets lately, scores. I give this one to actually as much credit to Matthew Wood, who made that pass.
Yeah, when you just say Wood score the first goal, the first thing I think of is Wood. And that one there, basically the move that Wood made, he froze Maverick. And Mav was doing what, you probably typically would. Wood on here. Well, it is the last night on the road. So, but Mav, he does the right thing because he's trying to get stick on puck. And then Wood makes a great pass and he just kind of shovels it back over to his left. And then, yeah, you're right. Bunting, it was a nice save. And if he had another shot from that, you can see this. Jake bit on the Wood attempt, or the Wood fake to shoot the puck too. And that's why he lost his net there, understandably so.
So that was 1-0 Preds as that goal went in with about 5.5. It was 14:26, a little over 5 minutes to go in the first period. Well, a minute and 9 seconds later, it's 2-0 because of a turnover, and Steven Stamkos was given a highway lane right to the net.
So you didn't want to say it out loud that it was Jamie Benn that
it was a Jamie Benn turnover.
But I will say that, this is just hockey IQ from Steven Stamkos, because what Jamie was trying to do is that it was going to be that little chip, step by, pick it up on the other side of him, and Stamkos read it the whole way, and then he knocks it down, and then ultimately he's the one that ends up scoring the goal. And it's funny, like, you may have another angle from here because I didn't have it when I was watching it. This is another one, like when the puck goes in, it's just me, and I know we've talked to Sean about this, it seems to me like Jake really covers the left side of the net.
That near post.
Yeah. His leg is out there. His left leg is outside the net and outside the crease. But that's the way he plays. And from the angle that I saw, did he go between the glove, the blocker, and the body?
Yeah. He went over the pad.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, a great, obviously, guys.
And look how close, too, Luds. I mean, that's like a forward tease.
Right. Are you kidding me?
He knew right away. And give Stamkos credit, because he's the one that created the turnover and then jumped up and got the return pass and went in and finished it off. He's been really good lately. You can see why. 2-0 Preds. Go to the second period, and boy, Robo had a great chance. The puck was bouncing a little bit. It was a remember this. It was a cross-crease pass to Jason Robertson, but the puck wasn't settled. I think it deflected off a stick on the way over there, because we're going to see another play like that for Jason Robertson a little bit later. But you got to give Jake credit, Luds. Stammer had a 2-on-1 in the second period, and Jake made it look very routine. I thought he made an excellent save on Stamkos on that one.
This is Jake's first game action in how long?
3 weeks plus.
Yeah, it's not easy. And you can practice all you want. You can be out there and practice and going through the motions and things like that. It's not the same as playing a game. So I thought, all things considered, he played a hell of a game.
Stars had a power play in the first period that I didn't think they looked great on. In the second period, however, they had one early that they didn't do much. Well, they had that robo chance. But later in the period, they had another one. Their third opportunity. Third time's the charm, this one. Wyatt Johnston scores his 20th of the year. Jamie Benn, who turned that one over, makes up for it with a heck of a pass.
Remember when you just said that Saros got a pat on one of Wyatt's shots?
Yep.
Well, on this one here, Jamie makes a beautiful pass, but Wyatt opens that blade up, and he makes sure that Saros is not going to get his pat on this one, because he elevates it and gets it just about up to the top of the net from in tight like that. So I believe that was in the back of his mind, that Saros was on his game and he was quick and everything else, and he's throwing his legs around, and Wyatt made a great move here to get that puck elevated, but Jamie makes a beautiful pass, and then Wyatt makes sure he gets it up in the air. You can see where his skate is kind of hard to see here, but he opened his blade up and made sure he got it up in the air.
Yeah, nice finish. 20th. There it is right there, lads.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that was defended pretty well. It's that Brady Shea right there on the defensive side. I think it is. He intended to play that well. He missed the pass, but he gave Jamie Benn space, and what I'm trying to say is Ben's pass was so good, even though the defenseman read it, he still couldn't get it.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing for the young kids, like that motion where you're trying to pick up a puck, you should just your stick should be coming over to find out who's shooting it, but you always want to get up and go underneath instead of over the top. At least you can hopefully get the stick up off. And even if you come over the top, a lot of times the opponent will end up getting some part of the puck because the stick is on the ice. You want to be able to get it up in the air.
2-1 after 2, go to the third period, and Nathan Bastian, who hadn't scored a goal since November 25th at Edmonton. Sounds like a long time. It is. It's 3 months, except that he'd only played in 9 games since then. He's been a healthy scratch a lot, but because of the injuries and the illnesses, he's in the lineup right now. He had a great chance in the game the other night. He had a great chance in the first period. Was denied. Well, he didn't miss this one, Luds. This one looked like a season goal scorer in the front of the net for Bastian.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say he looked like Stamkos with his 600. I mean, and again, Thomas Harley, the old wrister, the snapshot, make sure he gets it past the first guy. Saros can't contain it. And then Bastian, poise, patience, takes his time. He's on his backhand. I expected him just to bat it again on his backhand, but he pulls it back, and then he elevates it also. So nice, calm play by Bastian.
Yeah, Nate Bastian's 4th goal of the year. Not a big part of his game, but again, down the lineup, guys contributing, physical, forechecking, trying not to give up a lot of stuff the other way, and then chipping in. Been a group effort. So that ties it. They go to overtime. Brady Shea had a really good look on a 2-on-1. He hit the outside of the left post. Jake would probably say that he had the angle covered, but still, it was a good look. And then Dallas finally gets possession. They're pretty patient. They wait a while, and boy, it absolutely crumbles. I don't think we have we do? Oh, he said as the post-game show started, I don't have them, but guess who got them, Luds?
There is the Miro pick. This is what we've been trying to show and teach our players forever. It's a subtle little pick. It's really not a pick because Miro's just skating the opposite direction. He turns his back, and that's what opens up all of this space for Wyatt. Wyatt gets the shot. I don't know if there was a little piece of it here that got picked up, but again, it ends up coming right back to Haskin again. And Miro, as he always does, there's that rebound. Heiskanen continues over, and Miro picks it up, and then he makes that nice little pass. And I don't know, Ryan, do you have that shot? Let me see that shot again, the one you just came from, the one of Robo. Yeah, there's that left hand. This is exactly what Hulla was complaining about. Robo had Hulla's stick over his shoulder and had his left hand on the I'm just going to say it. Had his left hand on the shaft of Hulla's stick. So, anyway.
I thought you were going to say left hand on the knob.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to go that far. So, he was grabbing his shaft, and then he basically pulled it and then got his stick on the ice. And I don't even know if Robo got all of this, but he got enough of it to put it right underneath the bar.
Well, you want to talk about elevate. He didn't just dunk that. He chipped it just under the crossbar.
Yeah. I don't think he got it all. I think it was kind of – it's hard to tell, but it looked like it might have been wobbling a lot. So I think that's where Robo would have went anyways. I mean, these guys, as they sit on the bench and they watch how many of these pad saves that Saros makes throughout the game, especially the good goal scorers, they're knowing if I get a chance, I got to make sure I get it up over the top of that.
The part that I couldn't help but chuckle at afterwards was, and we're going to get to Sam here in a couple of minutes, was Brady Shea on that pick play trips over Steven Stamkos' stick, falls down. That's why Shea was on the ice on all fours, and Stamkos lost possession of his stick, right? It fell to the ice. So when Wyatt took that shot, I think it got deflected wide. Yeah. It bounces off the end boards and comes right back to Miro. Miro picks up the puck. Stamkos turned his back to Miro because he went to go pick up his stick, had no idea that Heiskanen's behind him with the puck, and it's a 2-on-1 in front of the net, and then he just sets up Robo. It was like this little comedy of errors for the Preds.
But see, now if that was the same kind of play 3 months ago for Nashville, it wouldn't have been in overtime. They wouldn't have even picked up. That'd have been in the last minute of the game, and they'd have lost the game and not getting any points. So it has turned for them a little bit. Will they pick up a point tonight?
And to your point, the last couple of minutes of the third period, both teams were playing not to lose in regulation because that 1 point was important for both. The Stars get that point, and with a game in hand still after tonight, they moved ahead of Minnesota, tied on points. Then they get the overtime point. Now they're ahead of them, still with a game in hand. Nashville needed the point because they're trying to get into that wild card spot. And that's where I know we're not going to talk about it now. But I would love to see the 3-2-1 system because I want to see teams try to win the game, not try to not lose. But that's where we are.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk to Sam.
I think they're point out right now.
Let's go see what we have from Sam coming up next here on DLLS.
Well, Ryan, just as a reminder, we were just talking about that nice pass that Jamie made to Wyatt Johnston. And I believe the first shirt that I asked you to pull up in the pregame show may have been the captain. So why don't we go to the Jamie Benn? There it is. There's the captain shirt who gave him the nice pass. First, he turned one over for a Stamkos 615th goal or whatever it may be. But then he gets it right back by throwing it over to Wyatt Johnston. That's the Wyatt 16-bit Johnston right there.
Oh, right very good.
Oh, yeah. So there it is.
His homework.
And let's may just be right. He may hit that power play goal and everything else that we talked about a week or so ago, right on cue. So, and then for Sam, let's pull the hats up one more time. There it is. There's Sam's hat on the left, the caddy hat, and then the favorite, the white one, the DLLS white hat. There you go, Owen.
Thank you, Luds. And by the way, that was Stamkos' 612th. I just looked it up. So not too shabby, right? Yeah, he's put a few in the net. Let's talk about. He's
got to be a Hall of Famer.
I think so, especially Stanley Cup winner, 600 goals. Yeah, probably so. But zero chance. He's waving his no move. He's staying in Nashville, he says. Let's talk about the Supporters Club because, again, this is a lot of fun. It's a bonus. It is not part of the Die Hard program. It's an extra. If you're in the chat all the time, Tony Go Stars got the Supporters Club badge. Harry, Ardell, just to name a few I'm looking at right now. Oh, Kendra's here as well, saying that Heika's shirt has shipped, should be at the studio on Monday. Well done, Kendra. So sign up today. You get the special badging. You also get to use the exclusive emojis, and you get our special supporters club content. We do a video, I think it's once a week basically, right? Or it's for once a month for us, but once for each of the 4 beats. So you'll get a little extra, a little bit of fun. So fantastic stuff, worth every moment of it. Sign up to be a supporters club member today, or just get in really good graces with Todd, aka Sports Guy TO, because he'll just gift you a few, maybe. But we shouldn't take advantage of TO. All right, let's bring Sam on. Sam Nestler over at American Airlines Center, ready to roll. We were just talking about the overtime there, Sam, and it seems like there was a little bit of intrigue and interest going on with Jason Robertson's game-winning goal.
Yeah, I asked. So I don't know if you guys can see on the broadcast, but Eric Halla snapped his stick twice.
Oh yeah,
the play broke it once, broke it again, and then it looked like he actually threw it at the official. As the official was skating over to the penalty box, it looked like he threw it in his direction and was just jawing the whole way off. Not sure if there'll be anything. I know that's a penalty. I'm assuming it's also a fine if you do something like that. So be interesting to see that. But I asked Robo about it, and I said, what was going on there? Why was he so mad? And I don't know if I'm sure he knew, as Luds just pointed out, he was clearly holding his stick. But he said, I don't know. It was kind of a chaotic play and all hell broke loose. So he denied very quickly that he was doing anything illegal on that play. But you were right, Luds.
He pled the fifth. He
did totally flub that shot. He actually flipped it. It flipped over Saros into the far corner, the opposite side of the net. So he had a lot of net to shoot at, and he put it basically in the only spot that he could get to on the far side.
What was it? Was it wobbling on the way to him too, or was it?
Yeah.
I didn't think
it was wobbly.
Yeah.
Hey, Luds, Cujo just brought up, because Sam is talking about it, a twice broken shaft may not be fixable.
I don't know. If you have Mars men, maybe.
Depends on the thickness of the shaft.
Sam, I don't know if you knew what we were getting into tonight, but we've already had shaft and knob conversation, so here we go.
I always know what I'm getting into.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It's funny because that's actually not the first time there was a Predator stick causing trouble tonight, right? Of course, Brady Shea tripped over Stamkos' stick that led up to that play. And Jonathan Marchessault had a little temper tantrum on the bench during the second period, where Luds, I don't know if you saw this because I don't think it was on the broadcast, but he had Sam, I'm trying to remember, it was like a glorious chance, but he never took a shot or something. Do you remember what led up to that?
He turned. It was right on the right side of the crease. He was all alone on Jake, and he tried to turn left and throw a pass behind him to a guy who wasn't open. So it was a very poor read, and he didn't get a shot off, and he was very upset about it.
Well, he goes to the bench, and we couldn't help but watch because he goes through the door closest to the zone that which the Stars attacked twice. But they were defending in that period, and he slams the door closed. You hear a big thump. Then he slams his stick on the top of the dasher boards in front of him. Then apparently the door didn't close. He kicks the door with his skate, and it closes again. And then he tries to slam his stick again, and somehow he kicked it, and it hit the dasher, and it flipped up and went onto the ice. And then it actually, as the play is going on, it actually got involved in the play 2 times, and we were wondering if he could get a delay of game penalty for throwing his equipment on the ice. And it would have been hilarious if that happened, because it was all based on he just had an emotional overload after that chance that didn't even happen to be a shot.
If Miro can get a delay game penalty for accidentally flinging his glove from the penalty box into the crowd, then I think Marchessault can get one for that.
I think so. I'm thinking about overtime. The Stars did not start off well. They gave up a couple of chances, the O'Reilly one, and then the Brady Shea was really good. Was that just them creating something, or was Gully not really thrilled with what was going on?
No, so I was watching it closely. Duchesne, Bork, and Harley, I think, are the 3 that were out there. They all were gassed. They were out there for over a minute, and were kind of looking for a change. But Nashville had the puck and was regrouping in their right around their own blue line. And it was kind of one of those weird plays where you're like, all right, you can't change here because it's 3-on-3. You're going to get something. You're going to give up something the other way. But they also carried the puck over towards the Dallas bench. So it was kind of a chance for someone to change. However, if you're going to change, you need to communicate it very well, and you need to make sure that everyone behind you is covered, not just that your other players on the ice. So maybe telling Bork, I think Duchesne went and changed. They're both looking at the bench. Duchesne went and changed, and maybe if he told Bork, "Hey, I'm changing, go back," so it doesn't lead to a 2-on-1. But Goldson, I asked that exact question that way, and Goldson said, "Or just don't change." It's like, you know what? In a position like that, you just can't change. I saw they were gassed. They're looking at the bench. That's a position where you just can't change. You just have to you deal with it. You try to suck it up, and you try to get the puck back and try to get a change after that. So that led to that glorious chance which hit the post. And I thought it was interesting. I think Heike asked, what are you doing differently in overtime? And Goldson just said scoring. That's it. We liked the way we played overtimes before. We had the puck, we had chances, but we just weren't scoring the goals, which were leading to those games. And if Nashville scores on that 2-on-1, it's the same story, right? They start off, they get in a bad spot, and they're down all of a sudden, even though they won the original faceoff, which I thought was interesting. Goalie said that Duchesne was their best left wing or lefty centerman the whole night, so that's why he was out there to take that faceoff. He actually won twice against O'Reilly after they blew the first one dead, but. It's just one of those things where you get 3-on-3 is crazy. We saw at the Olympics. It can go either way. It's a coin toss, and you just try to be on the right side of it. And tonight they were.
You'll get a kick out of this because Sam sent me a text before he came on here in the postgame show with a couple of things that he gleaned from the postgame media. And the third one was, we just talked about Gullit. He wrote Gulletson on bad change in OT, almost costing them scoring in OT versus early in the season. And apparently I have on my computer on messages here, AI suggested replies, which still needs some work because if I were to hit okay right now, Gullitson's OT goal was clutch.
Yeah.
That's right on point.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Right there.
We don't even need us anymore. Just have AI do the whole show.
Just do the whole AI postgame show. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about your boy from New Jersey, Nathan Bastian, because he doesn't score very often. 4th goal of the year, first since late November. I have a feeling that you were as happy as he was that puck went in.
So, Luds, I want to start this by asking you a question. You know the drill that everyone does? I don't know if they Stars do it anymore. They used to do it before the game, but they do it a lot of times at morning skates, where everyone's around the goalie and you're just jamming at the puck trying to score. Does that have a name?
Well, it's a horseshoe drill. I mean, is that the one you're talking about? Where they line up in a horseshoe?
Yeah. Everybody's just, yep. And then you just go until someone finally scores, right? So we'll call it the horseshoe drill. I call it the scrum or the drill that every goalie probably hates. But they were doing that this morning, and I just so happened to be sitting behind the net that they were doing that in.
Yeah, Sam went and sat by himself today, Luds.
Yeah, I don't like sitting with you guys sometimes. Guess who scored the winner to end that drill? Nathan Bastian. And I said, he's the hero today. Watch out for him tonight because he was feeling it. He was getting face washed and high sticked and everything. Tonight he comes out and not only scores the goal, right, but gets the deflection first of all, which, in today's NHL, if he doesn't tip that puck, that goes into Saros' gut and the play's over. It's a whistle and they're doing a face off. But gets the tip and then stays with it. And I asked him, were you surprised that you had so much space? And he looked at me with a big smile and said, yeah, if that was the other way around, goalie would have been really pissed at us for not defending anybody in front of our own net because he had all day. He tips the puck, collects the rebound, has the time to look up, see that he's got space, pull around to the back forehand and shelf it. And I don't know if you guys saw the video the Stars just posted. Goldson walked in and said, big win, and Bastian, big goal. That was the two things that he said to the group when they walked in there. Because as you said, it's not just that he, hasn't scored in a while and he was a healthy scratch for a while, easy to root for, all those things. It's also that they need those type of plays right now without Mikko Rantanen, without Rope Hantz, without Radek Faksa. They need those type of guys to have big plays. And it's great to see Bastian get it and to get it in that style, right? I joked with him when we walked into the room, he was doing radio. He got the cowboy hat. He was doing stuff with us in the press room. And I was like, you're a big shot now, huh? Doing all this stuff. And he said, I think they just feel bad for me. So he knows his role. He's fully accepting it. And he's a happy guy tonight.
Well, you'll love this. Carly in the chat said, I turned to my dad after Bastian scored and was like, quote, I bet Sam's happy.
I love that I have Bastian and Ritzkovian are my guys, I guess.
Those are your guys.
And they both had a fight and a goal.
So you have Ritzkovian fighting twice in a row. You have this one was different. It didn't feel quite as chippy, believe it or not. I thought it was going to be because there were some moments where it felt like a division game, which it is. But I don't know. I guess maybe because of the circumstances, maybe because both teams, I was talking to Luds the last segment of, maybe they both needed the point so badly. They had to focus on playing hockey and not the extracurriculars. But I remember with this one going into the third period saying to you, boy, this one could get pretty nasty. And it didn't quite pan out that way in the third, did it?
No, I think the chippiness was kind of sequestered to one part of the game. That middle of the second period,
Yeah.
You saw Ritzkovian going at it. You saw Ernie going at it a little bit. Blackwell trying to fight Michael Bunting. There was a little bit of it, but I think, as you said, the third period, I think I just heard you guys say it. Both teams were trying pretty hard not to lose in regulation as well when that game got to about 10 minutes. So I think it was just the way it was going. There was a lot of let's not make this mistake right now, and you saw the physicality drop. But I love the way Dallas just kind of pushes that on people now, right? We just talked in pregame about how they have this newfound grit, this new toughness. They're dropping gloves. They're doing these things. That's great when you're defending a teammate, as we just talked about. But there was nothing here. There was a little bit of a hit behind, a couple people talking, and all of a sudden Ritzkovian looks over and decides to just drop the gloves. And then what does he do? The new famous Dallas Stars thing to do when you're skating off for a penalty is get your arms up and get the crowd going, and they absolutely love it here. So I think it's been missing for so long, and I just love that Ritzkovian's the one who brings it, because every time I ask him, and I try to make a big deal out of it, I'm like, why is this such a big thing? Or trying to ask all these questions, and he just looks at me, it's hockey. Every time. He just smiles and says, that's hockey. And I think that is even better than giving me a long, detailed answer about it.
Last thing for you. Stars won their 6th multi-goal comeback of the season, which is the second most in the NHL. Only the Anaheim Ducks, who have 9, have more. Not ideal. You'd rather see them play from in front, which they seem to do relatively well, with some exceptions. But I like that this team can find a way to scrap it up. Again, Seattle the other night, I don't know. They haven't had a very good start to the post break. I don't know if they're a playoff team or not. Nashville sure looks like they're at least game. If they don't have the horses, they can scrap their way to maybe getting in. But so it's not like they're, this comeback is against, one of the best teams. But I was talking to Luds. The Preds really did clog up the middle of the ice as Dallas was trying to get that tying goal.
Yeah, they did. And Goldson actually said he liked the way they started the game. He was like, we were down 2-0 because of, we turned the puck over to Stamkos and let him walk in. But also he said he was in the ear of the official on that first goal, the shorthanded goal, the power play goal, because he thought there was a clear interference on the play before the goal. So he was like, you know what, I thought we were fine. But the cool thing I liked from this team that they always repeat, and Essa Lindell was the one talking about it today, with a big smile. As you know, he loves to do the media.
Always smiles.
But he's and also on the entire power play. I just had to point that out. When he is on the power play, which he is right now, he smiles the whole time he's on the ice for the power play. It's like he knows it's borrowed time and he wants to enjoy it. But he said we just have this feeling, and this is not this year. This is not even Pete DeBoer. This is before that. We're talking Bonus, Montgomery. This team has always had this in the tank. And I don't know if it's just a belief or it's just that they have had so much skill over the years that they're never out of it. But Essa just said as soon as we got a little bit going, and then obviously once they got the goal, they completely flipped the game. I mean, I thought that game was headed towards a 3-1, Nashville gets an empty net kind of vibe. And then they get the goal, and all of a sudden they won every race to every puck. They were more physical. They were clogging up the blue line. They were forcing Nashville to turn pucks over. It's just cool to see how they're able to shift through it. And then, as you said, they're finding new ways to do it. They don't just need that power play goal to score to tie the game. They get it from a guy like Bastian to do it in a big moment. Then they get the key power play goal, from Wyatt. It's just cool to see different ways of winning games, because you get worried certain times when, for us, we're spoiled. This team has had so much success, 3 Western Conference finals, that it leads to us thinking, how do they get past that part? We're not thinking, how do they get back to the playoffs, or how do they even get back to that spot? It's what little things do they need to get past that? And when you see them finding the chippiness, finding the keys on both sides of the special teams, and then finding different ways to win. That's important because when it comes down to the playoffs, you can't rely on one thing, especially the past with this team. Other teams have found a way to say, this is what you're good at. We're not going to let you do it. And Dallas under Pete DeBoer was not able to adjust to be able to overcome that against Edmonton and Vegas. Finding different ways to win and have success is how you get away from that. Because then when someone says your power play is great, we're not going to take penalties, you have another way to get around it. And I like that about this group.
All right, I just want to applaud.
I can see a shirt now, a shirt for the playoffs. Who's it going to be tonight?
Yeah, I like it. I'm also applauding because Sam just pulled a Sean and obliterated the ad break time with a long answer. Well done. You've made it, Sam. Put this on your wall.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sam. We have to do super chats next. You can stay if you want. You're on DLLS. He's like, nope, I'm out. Hey, he's still there. Let's talk about being a diehard because you can get that diehard sale price for another couple of days. I believe it's March 2nd, which is Monday, right? So if you want to be a diehard, if you've never been a DLS diehard before, now's the time to do it. It's usually $79.99 for a year. It's only $36 now through Monday. And of course, the NFL Combine going on in Indianapolis. It will give you access to the ALLCITY draft guide if you're a big football draft, aficionado and you really get into it. Coverage for the entire year of the DLS Cowboys show. Our Mavs, of course, probably looking for the draft as well right now. You've got the Rangers who are in spring training, getting ready for what hope is a more competitive year than last year as far as being, maybe in the playoffs. And then Stars. If you sign up now all the way to this time next year, basically trade deadline to trade deadline, and it gives you access to all the writing that Sam does, as well as Sean, of course, the other guys. So Jeff, Clarence, Ron, the DLS Diehard Discord Lounge, which we have a lot of fun with, especially with our damn Discord channel Q&As every now and then. And for those events, if you are a diehard, you get access to the DLS takeovers a little bit earlier. You get a discount on those tickets. There's a lot of good reasons. And you get a shirt. Let's just talk about all his favorite shirts, the hats, even Sam's kidnapped flag that he put up on his wall, which was the only thing on his wall for a really long time. You can do so many things for being a diehard. It's a lot of fun. And even get that little membership card. What does it do? I don't really know, but you can show it and be really proud of it. Scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen. Be a diehard today. It's worth it.
That was a great pitch for the card.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add on the DLS membership card?
I don't even know what that's all about.
I know, but I have one, and I think you do too.
Oh, yeah?
Somewhere. Right, yeah, he's got it right there. No smoking. All right. Let's do some super chats. Hit us up.
Bing bong.
There's the bing bong. We'll start with I Love Misty 1985. Oh, nope. You don't have to put that up for that, Ryan. For this one, we're close enough. The other room, probably. But thank you. I Love Misty 1985 with a Robertson and a Johnston. I'll confess I'm a fan of very little faith as I gave them very little hope of coming back given how terrible that first period was. I will readily accept that loss on my part as long as we can get the W for the Stars. Go Robo. I Love Misty, you can't give up after 20 minutes, especially against the Nashville Predators.
Bing bong.
How come I don't see anything? Oh, there it is.
Jay Scott with a Heiskanen and a Johnston Smashedville. Attaboy, Jay. They were smashed. Although, I do say that the old beater car with the sledgehammer bit that they do outside of Bridgestone Arena, that's really fun. I love that.
Yeah.
Bing bong.
Control Owen said Owen isn't Sam. I can read. Brett M with a Masterton and 99 Cup year drove from Alabama to see the Stars. What a game. What a birthday. Happy birthday, Brett. And that's not a bad one to go to. Although after about 25, 30 minutes of this game, you're probably thinking, maybe I should have come a different night.
Yeah. What was I thinking?
Yeah, exactly. I wonder how far are they? Lud, you ever driven through Alabama?
I'm sure I have. Not on purpose, but I'm sure I have.
I was wondering if you did it on 2 wheels or 4. or one?
No, it'd be 2. No,
Yeah.
it'd be 2. Yeah, my unicycle's in the shop.
No, you're not popping wheelies with the big chopper?
No.
Yeah. I don't feel like that's a good idea on the highway either. We have more? One more. Okay. Here we go. Oh, I didn't hear the big one. Chaotic with a Heiskanen and a Bastian. Hell of a Bastian goal and shaft. You know, Luds.
Our own personal shaft. Our producer.
Oh, wow. That's not bad. So I was at the hockey store, the other generic, but it was Thursday because my younger son needed a new stick, and we were looking at some stuff with one of the guys that worked there. And he was pointing out how that area right above the blade, right? It's above the heel. It's right where the shaft meets the blade, right? I don't know if there's a better way to put that, right? But that part above the heel, it kind of gets a little narrower on a lot of sticks, these one pieces, and that's very susceptible to breakage, right? But they're starting to make them, they're starting to, because they're so light, they're starting to make them a little bit wider so that they're not quite so susceptible to being, breaking, blocking a shot or getting slashed or whatever, because they break down in that area so often. And I don't know how many jokes I just gave you, but have at it.
Oh, a ton right there. Let me break that one down.
By the way, Brett said it's about a 10-hour drive from Alabama to Dallas. So that's farther than Nashville, which is about an 8-hour drive. So there you go. Ryan, do you have the out-of-town scores? Or he does. Okay. So let's take a quick look at the out-of-town score before we wrap this one up tonight. Two graphics. Yeah, there were a lot of games. There were 13 games. So there were a couple this afternoon. I was watching the end of the Rangers-Penguins game that went to a shootout, and then the Flyers beat the Bruins. That was, other than that fight between Jeannot and Delorier, it was not a very exciting game. But see, the Islanders beat the Blue Jackets. And Luds, we talked about it before. Now, Columbus fought back and got a point out of this one, but I think they, of anybody, really did not want that break. We talked about it before the Olympics, and they've fought a little bit. In fact, I saw today that Rick Bowness healthy scratched young Kent Johnson, who's a really good young player for them, because he just hasn't been very good this year. And I think the quote from Bones was something to the effect of, I've seen what he did in last year's season and some of the things he can do, and he's just not doing that right now.
Well, he was one of the players that the general manager would help. That's one of the players that he talked to when Bones took the job over, is to get him going. And then the very first game that Bones got behind the bench, they played him something like 21, 22 minutes a night to try to get him going, because he's one of them, possibly one of them young, up and coming kind of keys to the team. And so obviously there's more to it than that. But there's no question that they did not want this break to come. The way that they were rolling along there, yeah, they did not want that to happen.
Yeah, and now they have to get wheeled up again and going. Another super chat from Natalie with a DeSmith and 99 Cup here. Is Mikko out 2-ish weeks from the bronze game? No, he was hurt actually in the semifinal, which was against Canada, and didn't play. Mikko Rantanen didn't play the bronze medal game. And I thought at the time, Luds, or maybe I was just hoping, that Mikko missing the bronze medal game was just like, oh, well, he realizes it's just precautionary, but it's clearly more than that. I think it's going to be at least 4 weeks. I don't know why. That's just my gut feeling.
Yeah, when I saw him when he came out on the ice at the end of that game, when he was just dressed in his street clothes, and I saw him hobbling, and I was like, nah, but you never really know there too. So yeah, hopefully it's not one of you hope that whatever it's going to be is not something that lingers. That's just nagging and bothering him, and then you get a player like that goes into the playoffs, and he's trying to play at 75-80%, and then it just keeps getting worse and worse. So I would think that organizationally, keep him out until he's ready for sure.
I agree. Let's throw up those other scores really quick. I don't know if you saw the other one from the first graphic. The Sharks won tonight 5-4 at home over the Oilers. There was a goal, I actually showed Ryan the highlight, where Connor Ingram, the Edmonton goalie, had lost his stick and it had gotten knocked into the corner. The Oilers cleared it to center ice. Ingram went to get it and they turned it over. and Macklin Celebrini came in the offensive zone and scored before Ingram could get back in his crease. It didn't look great for Edmonton.
They have got to finally – it'll be interesting by the time trade deadline comes up if there's not another goaltender there.
It feels like they have to. I mean, I know Jari picked up that injury, but still, yeah, it seems like they haven't found what they're looking for. Or maybe they just have to play better defense in front of their goalies. There was a lot of hope in Dallas in the press box about the Blackhawks because they had a 1-0 lead for a while. But I think we all knew that we had pretty low expectations for Chicago helping the Stars out against the Avalanche. Flip to the other screen, you can see, Luds, the Maple Leafs are going one direction. It's not the way they wanted.
Oh, they're done.
How about the Sabres, though? Sabres 6-2 in Tampa tonight? Not bad.
Getting the parade route set in Buffalo.
And then you see the other two. I mean, obviously, Hurricanes beat the Red Wings. The Red Wings seem like they haven't had a great post-break beginning to this push to the schedule, but the Kings and the Kraken desperately needed games against the Flames and the Canucks because they floundered out of the break, and they both got wins tonight. So that's good for them. I mean, what about L.A.? If they lose Fiala for the year, they get Panarin, but they have not looked good so far. They hadn't looked great before the break. There's a shot that they don't make the playoffs. And if that's the case after making the Panarin deal, I just don't think Ken Holland can sit on his hands. I think they've got to go get more.
Oh, they're going to have to. He knows he has to do something. But
Yep.
I just wonder if that's a destination for Pete DeBoer.
That's interesting.
Because the other guy's gone. I mean, I just don't know how he's going to outlast what's going on. In fact, I know their last game, the whole building was chanting, "Fire him."
Ugh.
That's never good.
That's not good. It's funny. I was listening to the Elliot Friedman 32 Thoughts pod driving back from morning skate today, and he made that comment that Ken Holland does not like to change coaches during the season. And I guess the last time he did it was when he installed Chris Knobloch in for Jay Woodcroft up in Edmonton, but that he's very much hesitant to do that. When the whole crowd is cheering it, usually that's about that time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to recover from that. It's probably best. Well, I don't know. I think even if they do get in, they're probably a one and done.
Yeah.
Kind of playoff team, anyways.
Well, I'd have to go back and look. I think I picked them again because I doubled down after picking them last year and they lost in the first round. But we will see. Luds, the Stars have been a little fortunate because they only played 2 games in the first 4 days of this post-break. That's been good, and at home. But now they start to ramp up. They still have a lot of home games, so they have to go out to the West Coast. They're going to play Vancouver on Monday night. We'll be here. Our next show is the pregame show for that, 8:30 Central Time. And then we'll have Calgary the next night. That's been good to play a game, have 2 days off, play a game. I feel like now is where it really starts this March grind where they're going to, that's it. What is it? 16 games in the month of March. It's going to be a very, very busy push. Trade deadline is less than a week away. A lot's going to happen just in the next 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, I think it's good. Maybe especially for Rope. You know what I mean? Like just a couple games in there. He's not going to miss 4 or 5. And hopefully that gives him a little break. I don't think it makes a big difference for where Rantanen is. He is where he is and what that's all going to be like. But yeah, now they kind of get started, and now there's not going to be much more practice for the guys. You know what I mean? It's going to be rest and play games. Which for a player and the guys, the position that they're in, being a playoff team, and of course they want to continue to leapfrog Minnesota for sure, and then eventually stay ahead of them. But regardless, it's going to go fast. The playoffs are going to be here before you know it for them. Well, and that's what they're looking for right now. They're where they're going to be, right? Whether they're playing game 1 at home or in Minnesota, wherever it is. It's not to say that they can't beat Colorado, but it's still a big hill to climb. And if Colorado contends on the thing that they are, but it's going to go quick. And right now they want to get it over with and they want to start the playoffs. Yep,
I agree. I think that their best bet is to chase Colorado, and if they do that, they're ahead of Minnesota now, and they still have a game in hand. If they say we're going to try to catch the Avs, I'm not saying that they're going to, but if they make that their target, I think that'll help them either keep pace or just stay ahead to get that second place spot over the Wild. Because if they just concern themselves with Minnesota, I think that'll be problematic. It's better to let the Avalanche be the rabbit, so to speak.
and it'll be interesting to see what the Avs do because they're not
Yeah.
done.
No. Well, and to your point on that, we all thought that as soon as the Olympic break was over, we would see a slew of trades, and then maybe it wouldn't be that exciting on deadline day. But after seeing what we've seen this past week and some of the talking points, all of a sudden it's went from we think a lot of teams want to buy to now it might be a buyer's market because a lot of teams that we thought were going to add now suddenly realize they may not be in a great position. And so now there's more players available than there are teams looking, which is going to benefit the Stars. And it may be a game of chicken, Luds, with GMs all the way down to the deadline.
Well, and the ones that thought they were sellers, now all of a sudden they're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
We're 3 points out, so do they want to be giving that up? But I just think that Minnesota is going to do something else. If you know Billy Guerin, he's probably going to do something. Colorado, I've heard mentioned a couple times, Trocheck and Kadri. So one of those two may be there. So I think the Islanders are probably going to do something. I think they think that they're, in a spot and they may add to their team. So it'll be fun and it'll be interesting as we move along. That's what we always think, and then nothing happens. So
I know, right?
And Jim Nill's going to do something, right? I mean,
it has to be. Yeah, well, especially with the Sagan LTIR money, you don't get to carry that over. You might as well. The biggest question we've said the whole time is what kind of assets do they have to give back? But they've got cap space now for this year, so they might as well use it. And you can see the teams that we think are legit right now, because, somebody can get on a run and get hot at the right time and surprise everybody. But the legit cup contenders start with Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota. You could say Vegas, although they haven't really looked amazing, but I still think they're there. And then you go to the other side and it's Tampa, Carolina, maybe Buffalo. I know.
You got to be careful there, with
right.
Buffalo.
Well, that's a handful of teams. So if you're in one of that small elite group, you better do the best you can to try to go out and give your team a chance to win.
The one team I wonder about is Boston. I don't know about a cup contender, but can they do some damage and can they knock somebody off in a round or something like that? Mm-hmm. So they've had a really good year with a brand new coach.
And suddenly they're in. Detroit's not in the lead of the division anymore, right? They just sort of dipped a little bit. Buffalo's ahead of them. Montreal's in third place in the Atlantic now. The Caps are chasing outside. The Blue Jackets are still 5 points back. Ottawa looks like they're not. We know the Flyers are probably sellers. I don't think the Panthers are going to make up 8 points plus. Toronto's in that same spot. The Devils, there's a lot of teams suddenly, Luds, that might be like, we don't have enough runway left.
Yeah. Dougie Hamilton, Carolina. Go back home.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. Good show tonight. Thank you for joining us here in the post game. As I mentioned, we're off tomorrow. Luds, Sam, and I will be back on Monday night for our pregame show where we will do the 3 stars of the week and the Stars Canucks. Then on Tuesday night, we're here in studio again for the Calgary Flames. And then suddenly, a couple of days to the deadline. It's going to be fun. Big one tonight. Stars rally to win 3-2 in overtime. He's Craig Ludwig. For Sam Nestler and our producer Ryan Vodders, I'm Owen Newkirk. You DLS diehards are the best. Keep going. We'll see you on Monday night. 3, 2, fuck you. Bird poop.
We all silly like the mayor.